Alright, we're doing a garden tour. What is today? The 9th of September. And mostly this is going to be a review of deep mulching the garden as best as I could compared to previous years. These are corn stalks I still haven't done anything with. Our very sad corn patch did not do well. If you look in the back, there is a cover crop of black-eyed peas that we planted. The rest just got planted today by the girls. I'm going to cut out some of these trees to increase sunlight here in the winter. These are new beds I put in, and first note I'm going to make about mulching heavily is that I didn't have to weed, like hardly at all, after the initial mess of having wheat sprout from the straw that I bought. That was learned a lesson there. But once all the wheat was gone, very few weeds to pull, and so I just didn't have to spend as much time out here doing maintenance. Honestly, some of the tomatoes didn't get picked as quick as they should because I just didn't have to be out here as much to maintain the garden. But because I didn't have to maintain weeds and such, I built these beds, all these beds below the asparagus, and where that big raspberry plant is going crazy there. That new bed, the bed right there, the bed in front of the strawberries, that bed, these walkways, that bed, and that bed, all got built and filled when previous years would have been just maintaining, pulling weeds, and watering. Seedling asparagus is doing very well. This bed is going to get planted to strawberries. Some more of these beds are to the left over here are going to be planted to asparagus. You can see I did not mulch my apple trellis rows, my dwarf trellises, and you can see the difference here. You can see some weeds starting to try to creep in on the back of the asparagus, but huge difference between this. There's a few in the back trying to creep in. I mean, look at the beans. There's like almost nothing popping up right now. And this over here. Huge difference. Asparagus in this row is doing well. These beans, these are Good Mother Stallard beans. Just now starting to put a lot of beans on. They went a very long time with almost no beans. And so I'm glad they are finally putting on. Prairie Fire is still our favorite tomato of the year. Since I wasn't out here as much, I wasn't out here to maintain my walkways as well as I probably should have, and so stuff has just blown up. The chamomile is falling into the path. I probably should have made our paths a little wider, but I was trying to squeeze in an extra bed before I got to the bottom down there. And so I'm still happy with the beds being the way they are. I'm going to sneak over here, try not to step on too much. Armenian yard-long cucumbers. There is a monster right here that I let go to seed growing through this trellis. I mean, look at that guy. Big old thing. And you can see there's babies over there, there's babies over there, there's one that ought to be picked right here. There's a baby there. Man, let me get back out of here. A baby there. Last year I didn't have enough cucumbers, and I said I need to plant more cucumbers next year, talking to somebody at church, and I did. I followed through on that, and now we have almost too many cucumbers. Let me find my way back out of here. There's some baby trees trying to pop up. Squirrel stole some of my nuts I husked last year, and they buried them out here in these beds. Tomatoes are doing okay. Kind of disappointed in the tomatoes I'm breeding. Tomato worms got into some of them there for a while when I didn't check as much as I should. Sunflowers are doing good, but through here, you can see there should be a whole bunch this size and bigger. Rabbits came in and just ate everything that wasn't bolted down. My echinacea, this is supposed to be double-decker echinacea from Baker Creek, and they are not double-decking. You can see there's like a ring around the top there that looks like it's different, but they aren't double-decking. There's not a second tier of flowers like they're supposed to be. Anise hyssop everywhere is blooming profusely. All over the place. I put a lot of that in here for pollinators. Watch out, Slick. Let's scoot on down the row. Just now starting to get a lot of squash bugs. Some of these are quite sad. Came through here fighting bugs earlier this week. Here's one I'm letting go to seed, to save seeds. I like Black Beauty's taste really well. They're fairly productive, and they really suffered this year. This is a white scallop I don't much care for, but no, take that back. That's a golden Marlboro, I think. Hold on, let's get over. Honeyberries are kind of sad. Here's some dragon egg cucumbers. We let some get too big, they need tossed to the rabbits. Yeah, that's a big one. Honeyberries are doing okay. They hung on through the heat. They weren't happy, but we went through a drought where they didn't get watered as much as they should, and also, thank you for bringing that knee pad over here, 100-degree heat for quite a while for us, and they weren't happy. But they hung on, and even though some of them look kind of sad, move your hand there, Slick, they hung on and didn't defoliate. It's time for you to come along quietly with us, okay? Okay. I also am working on this bed up here between my apple tree rows, and it is a little harder to walk up here because the row isn't packed. Slowly working on that, going to work on filling them with dirt fairly soon and buckets of biochar. Coming back down this way, blackberries did not produce well, but they were fresh starts. Need to work on trellising them because some of them are coming back and touching the ground again. Don't mind all the buckets over there. Pumpkin. We are going to talk about our flat white boar pumpkin briefly. I got the bright idea to plant one, or two plants actually, in the corner of the compost bin, right on the edge. And they grew, some almost burned up at the beginning, which I thought they probably would burn up. And then we had that drought and heat, and they looked super sad, no pumpkins, and I thought this is going to be atrocious, you know, this is going to be terrible. And now, look at this thing. It keeps going over there, past acacia, it's gone over the back, there's a baby pumpkin hanging right there. There's a couple big ones, and then look at how it's going over this way. It's just all over the place. And back here, there's one. Let's see, I thought there was another one. There's a young one back there. Where? Right there. Back over this way, I found one the other day. That's decent size. Walking, it's taken over the girls', there's another little one. It's taken over the girls' walkway. It's taken over these gooseberry bushes. There's a gooseberry that is trying not to get swallowed by this thing. There is the other one. Came in here and fought some squash bugs, and you can see it's just running all over the place. Almost out of control. For rhubarb, this plant, which is actually two plants, is doing quite well. These starts I got, these crowns, one died. This one is very sad. I don't really expect it to come back next year, but we'll see how it does. Overall, the garden is doing quite well. I wanted to show some roses before I finished. Some more echinaceas doing well, more hyssop. This rose is a wild blue yonder, and it just grows out of control more than flowers. I'm coming that way, sis. So I need to prune this thing back again. That one hasn't flowered all year. It's just grown and grown and grown. This is my favorite. It's almost out. Very pretty yellow with a light pink tint.